Okay. I'd like to call the meeting for the Design Review Board together for the May 5th meeting. The purpose of the board is to review applications for certificates of appropriateness for construction, alteration, demolition, relocation of structures in the Aiken's historic districts in an effort to help Aiken retain its historic character. We'll begin by reviewing the minutes from our previous meetings. After the board votes on the meetings, then we'll start to call applicants to the podium to speak. Our secretary will introduce each of the applications. When you come forward, I would ask that if you're speaking, coming forward to speak, you give your name and address for the record. I'd also ask that you speak into the microphone. I'm not sure if I'm doing that right now, as a matter of fact. The board will give everybody a chance to speak if you want to speak on an application, and we'll do some debating, and then we'll have a vote. I would ask, please forgive me tonight, that's not the last time I do that. I would ask if if you're not an applicant and you want to speak, that you would limit your comments to about 5 minutes, just in the interest of time. We've got a pretty thick package tonight, but there's only 6 or 8 things, and hopefully we'll move pretty quick. Having said all that, I'll ask if there's a motion from the board on the minutes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve for March the 26th special call work session, the minutes from March 28th special call work session, and from the special call work session on April the 7th.
Do I have a second?
I second it, Mr.
Okay. We've got a motion to approve various meetings minutes and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. Okay. Rebecca, would you please introduce our first application?
Item A under Old Business, application number CERD 26-001077. Applicant Robert Miller is requesting approval to construct a new wall at 616 Park Avenue Southeast, tax map parcel 121-06-14-013. The property previously had a rotted wood fence along Park Avenue, and the applicant replaced it with a stone wall prior to receiving an approved certificate of appropriateness. The applicant is now requesting to remove the stone wall and replace it with a white brick wall. The proposed wall will be located along Park Avenue in front of 616 Park Avenue and approximately 15 to 19 feet long the property line between the cottage and the Salvation Army building at 604 Park Avenue Southeast. It will stand 48 inches tall along Park Avenue and part of the side elevation, then increase to 5 feet as it connects to the existing 8-foot tall wall. The proposed wall will match and tie into the existing white wall on the property. A wrought iron gate is also proposed to be installed, along with 2 lights on the front face of the 2 columns framing the gate. This property is located in the Old Aiken Overlay and is zoned downtown business. The Aiken Historic Resource Survey card lists the construction date as early 20th century. The Aiken County Assessor's Report lists the construction date of the building as 1918. 151 Horry Street, which is connected to 616 Park Avenue as part of a duplex, is a new construction that was approved by the DRB in 2024 through Certificate of Appropriateness number CERD 24-001073. The white brick wall along Horry and part of the Park Avenue property line was previously retroactively approved by the DRB in 2026 through Certificate of Appropriateness number CERD 26-001044. Additionally, the DRB approved the construction of an 8-foot tall white wall on the property at the April 7, 2026 DRB meeting through amended Certificate of Appropriateness number CERD 26-001066. This application originally also requested retroactive approval of the stone wall currently existing along Park Avenue on this property. However, after discussion with the board, the applicant requested to amend the application to remove this stone wall from that application. Zoning Ordinance Section 4.1.4.b, Fences and Walls in Non-Residential Districts, states a fence or wall in any non-residential district shall not exceed 8 feet in height. And I believe Mr. Miller is here to represent himself.
Give us your name and address for the record, Mr. Miller.
Robert Miller, live at 151 Horry Street, Aiken, South Carolina. And it's pretty self-explanatory what was set up, y'all put up there, and that's how it's gonna look. And I think it would really, really make that area pop right there.
Right. Well, I agree with you that to continue the fence from your new house on down around the cottage would blend better than the rock block looking wall. So I don't really have any questions for you, but I'll open it up to the board. Anybody on the board, questions for Mr. Miller?
To clarify, are you also asking for approval of the lights that are shown on Exhibit A, page 6?
The lights, say that again, Lucy.
The lights, the 3 lights, the 2
The
by
lanterns on the fence
Yeah.
and
You
all.
got the 2 front lights on the columns there. That light to the right on the 8-foot is already there.
No, I'm talking about the 2 at the walkway, and then the one on the, I guess
Left.
it's the left.
Yeah,
Yeah, those 3, right?
Right.
yeah, 3.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. And those are going to match the ones that are on the new wall as well. Okay. All right, pretty straightforward. We're going to see if anybody wants to speak in favor or against your application.
All right.
Thank you. All right. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this application, please come forward at this time. If there's anyone in the audience who'd like to speak against this application, please come forward. All right. Seeing none, I'm ready to entertain a motion from the board.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, may I make a motion?
Please do.
On application number CERD 26-001077, in consideration of the Old Aiken Overlay District, applicant name Robert Miller or Miller Holdings and Trust LLC. Location is 616 Park Avenue Southeast. Tax parcel number 121-0614-013. I find that the project is found to be in accordance to our old Aiken Overlay District guidelines, specifically, as I flip through this packet, specifically sections site design, downtown commercial type fences and railings found in beginning on page 14. And old masonry fence is a material that is found in the district, sir. That's it.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss. I'm a little tongue-tied. It's been a while. I've been out of the saddle, but I'm back in. I thank you for what you did, sir. It is in harmony with the district. That first stone fence, as I reflected and I told you, I was like, well, your mason is already there. I think it'd behoove all of us and it'll look continuous if you just continue that masonry fence. You took what we stated and you brought us some renderings, and I think it looks amazing. And it's not as off-putting as it once was. Looks great.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, seeing no further discussion, I'll ask for all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Seeing none, it's a unanimous vote. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Appreciate you working with the board, and I'd like to ask you to try to get approval in advance in the future. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next COA.
Item A under new business, application number CERD 26-001073. The applicant has requested that we postpone this application to the following meeting.
Okay.
Item B under new business, application number CERD 26-001074. Applicant Eric Gordon is requesting approval to replace the existing mural at 214 The Alley Southwest tax map parcel 121-21-06-004. The existing mural was painted on removable panels, and the proposed new mural will also be installed using removable panels. No changes are proposed to the building's exterior architecture, brickwork, or any permanent structural elements. The applicant proposes that the work is limited solely to replacing the artwork and its removable panel system. This property is located within the Old Aiken overlay and is zoned downtown business. The Arts Commission met on April 15th, at which time they reviewed submissions for the proposed mural and narrowed down the entries using a rubric, which is included in the application. The proposed mural was selected by the commission using this rubric. The Arts Commission's request to remove and replace the existing mural is part of a broader effort to promote the Aiken Downtown Cultural District. The City of Aiken has recently been designated as a South Carolina Cultural District, and the proposed artwork is intended to support that initiative. In proposing the submitted mural, the Arts Commission satisfied the requirement for the DRB to receive a recommendation from the Arts Commission as outlined in the Old Aiken Design Guidelines, Section 6.1, Miscellaneous Guidelines Artwork on page 114. This section states, art installations in the Old Aiken Overlay District, subject to the adopted design review process and guidelines, must first be reviewed by the Aiken Arts Commission prior to submittal of a certificate of appropriateness. The Aiken Arts Commission shall review proposals and issue a recommendation to approve or deny the Design Review Board, utilizing established criteria to assess artist capacity and the artistic merit and appropriateness of the proposal. I believe Eric is here.
Please give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name's Eric Gordon. My address is 327 Lawrence Street, Southwest.
In your capacity here tonight.
I am here as the staff liaison for the Arts Commission for the City of Aiken.
Thank you. Anything you want to add to the staff comments?
I think from what the staff said, it explains it. As earlier, I just want to mention, sorry, a little tongue-tied also.
It's all good.
So
I
just want
stayed
to
that way.
mention, just want to mention that being designated a downtown, a cultural district by the state of South Carolina, and also having the backing of the city council, we're looking at this to kind of expand the cultural footprint of downtown. And I think one of the main aspects of doing this is, one, to allow everyone to know the amount of artists, musicians, sculptors, whatever words you want to use, that exist in the city of Aiken. And on the second side of that is Aiken is a fantastic downtown. It is a welcoming downtown for many, but it can also be intimidating for some, because our restaurants are expensive and our stores are a little bit higher priced. And that's in Aiken, and that's great. But having public art is something that anyone can enjoy and come in and experience for free and feel part of a community and feel more of a part of Aiken. And this piece that was chosen by the Arts Commission, you can see some of the information in the packet, was strongly felt to reflect this sense of bringing anybody in. Anybody can be the people in those pictures, no matter who you are. And then the other item I wanted to say, I believe that also Wendy Hirsch, are the chair of our commission, handed out something that was what we sent out in our call to artists to bring something to downtown Aiken that, is different than what was there, than what's there now. Something that will still you're still going to keep the building, you're still going to have it set back, it's still going to be Aiken, but now it's opening, it's making Aiken wider. So that's my overview.
Thank you. I do have a comment for you, and I want to say that I'm in favor of everything you're doing, okay?
Thank you.
So don't take a negative comment as being against what you're trying to accomplish here, because I'm in favor of it. I do strongly believe that we need to make Aiken feel open and more inviting to guests, and so completely agree with that. I also realize that this board is charged by city council to try to retain the character of downtown. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's possible for our board and your board to come together and work together to accomplish both of our goals. And And I think that this artwork that you've proposed here tonight is in keeping with both of our goals. And so I wanted to say thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for what you've brought with us here tonight. And I hope that we never get to a point where we do have to disagree on something. So anyway, that was my comments.
I
Any
appreciate
other
you saying that.
Yeah. Any other comments from the board?
Yeah.
Okay, John.
I just want to make, Eric, would you, just for part of public record and people that may be watching, and we'll look at the video of the meeting at a later date. You know, it's important, and you talked about the South Carolina Cultural District. You know, how does that really impact Aiken? I mean, do we get a lot of communication throughout the state about what the things that we're doing? Do we post that? Is there some sort of a statewide website that you go to get information about the different cultural cities?
So there is a statewide website, which is under the South Carolina Arts Commission. It's part of their main site, where they do talk about, I believe it's now 13 districts. I believe it's 13 districts around the state that have been allowed into this program. And they do talk about what we're doing. We give them updates. We have meetings with them. We also just completed our yearly, it's not a reaccreditation, like an annual report. And we just submitted the annual report for the cultural district to let them know what the age groups are coming, what percentages, how many people, what increases we've had. We actually had a 3.4% increase in the cultural district from fiscal year 24 to fiscal year 25. And some of that is just because of the popularity in downtown and tourism and whatnot. So that is one place to find it. The other place is we do currently have a page on our website, which is just a page about the cultural district, which we do plan on expanding as we bring in a new marketing company for Visit Aiken. And that's another area. We do have the Art Walk, which is something that occurs in downtown, which the Arts Commission is involved in. And that's going to also be going through some changes in the next go-around to kind of bring it up to a level where it is more artists. Nothing wrong with crafters. We love them at the farmers market, but we want to bring artists who are coming in to show their work and show what Aiken has to offer. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, it does. Thank you, Eric. Just another comment. I have customers moving here from other parts of the country, and trying to explain to them all the things that Aiken is noted for now.
Yeah.
That we didn't have before. Like we talked earlier about the symphony and the Center for the Art, things like that. And I could not find a place that I could point them to that really gave what I felt like was a real full idea of the potentials, things that they could do once they got here. We're very unusual for a city this size. It's a metropolitan small
Yes,
town.
yeah.
And I mean, the symphony's great. The Center for the Arts, a lot of things going on there, and I know it's hard to get everything, but we have these things. You're part of it, and I'd just like to see more avenues that people can find those things that when they move to town.
If I could mention 3 quick things, just so you're aware of them and for when your people are moving to town. Aiken does come out with an art guide every August that details Aiken Music Fest. It details things going on in the art district. It details the dates for the symphony, the shows at the Aiken Center for the Arts, and that comes out, like I said, every August. And then at our visitor center, besides having our Aiken Visitors Guide, one thing that we do have, which was redone, which I really love, is Aiken puts out a booklet of 5 maps. And someone would say, well, why do you need 5 maps for your area? Well, one map is kind of an overview, and then another map is downtown. But then another map is the Equine District, just showing people, hey, this is something that is here. And it has the speed limit right on the page if they're going to go there. Another page is the Cultural District, explaining what's in the Cultural District. And then the last map is Citizens Park, because that is used by so many visitors who are coming here for games. So I feel that is a piece that if you want to check out, I'm happy to drop them off with you, that could always be used to show. But we will be creating a cultural park, cultural district brochure that will match the other Hopelands Gardens brochure, which we just redid, the Train Museum brochure, and it'll all be like a packet of all the different facets of different layers of history and culture throughout Aiken.
Yeah. Well, I think as we've stepped up our game here in Aiken, that, we need to continue our communications to new people and even people, there are people in town that have lived here all their life, don't know about all the things we've got going on.
When I hear people say there's nothing to do in Aiken, I'm like, you could walk outside your door and not spend a dime.
Well, thank you. It wasn't meant as a criticism.
Oh, no,
It was meant
I
as
don't take it as one, but if ever,
something to be proud of and something that we need
very
to
much so.
move
Thank you
on.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay.
Thank
I'll
you.
let you sit down and we'll see if there's any public comment. At this time, I'd ask anyone who wants to speak in favor of this application to come forward. Seeing none. Anyone opposed would like to speak at this time? Okay. Not having any public comment, I'd ask if a member of the board would like to make an application regarding this, a motion regarding this application.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion, not an application, sir.
Thank you.
Quite welcome. On application number CERD 26-001074, in the matter of Eric Gordon, representing the city of Aiken, the location is 214 The Alley Southwest. I move that the board find as facts that the proposed project is in harmony with the historical architectural character of the district in which it's located due to the old Aiken design guidelines. Special attention to section 6.1 miscellaneous guidelines of artwork on page 114. I'd also like to make a special notation that this was forwarded to us, our recommendation was forwarded to us by the Arts Commission. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do a second.
I second, and I was remiss when I was making that comment. Thank you to the Arts Commission, because you have some insight that I don't have, and I'm sure we always appreciate people's expertise being pointed in our direction. Thank you.
All right, great. Any further discussion by the board?
I like the direction that it's going.
You good? Okay. All right, seeing there's no further discussion, I'd ask all those in favor, please raise your right hand for this motion. Okay, all those opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. You've got your COA. And thank you for what you guys do to support us. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to the next applicant.
Item C, under new business, application number CERH26-047. Applicant Cameron Scott is requesting approval to enclose a porch at 619 Barnwell Avenue Northwest, tax map parcel 104-20-16-001. The applicant is requesting approval to enclose the front entry porch of the school to provide a security barrier as indicated in the application. The applicant is proposing enclosing the porch with new doors and windows. The windows are proposed to be white, fixed aluminum clad casement units with 2-inch frames and simulated divided lights, along with wood infill panels below the windows featuring a recessed flat panel below the sill. The proposed window configuration would resemble a prior enclosure of the porch, as shown in a historical photograph included in the application. The proposed door will be a white painted wood, single light door measuring 3 feet by 7 feet with a transom. This is a contributing property located within the Historic Overlay District, specifically Historic District 3, and is zoned limited professional. The Aiken Historic Resource Survey card lists the construction date as 1905. The applicant recently submitted a certificate of appropriateness application for a security fence to be installed around the property, which was administratively approved under Certificate of Appropriateness number CERH26-045. The applicant did also provide a sheet of updated drawings, which will be added to the record after this meeting. And I believe Mr. Scott's here to represent the application.
Give us your name and address, please.
My name is Cameron Scott. I live at 23 Society Hill Drive here in Aiken.
Anything you want to add to the staff comments?
I think Rebecca's explained it pretty well. I mean, it's as you can tell with this school, it's pretty open on 3 or 4 sides, and with what we see across the United States, and and what's happened in a lot of schools, that this is a big push in this school is to secure the immediate surrounding of the building, to try to give a little bit more protection to the students that are here at the school. So as Rebecca said, we've already got staff approval for fencing to provide enclosure at the sides and back of the school, and so this will give us a security vestibule at the front. And so what we're proposing to do is sort of picks up on what was there in the past. There was whether it was enclosed on all sides, we don't know, but this was a view we feel like from the 60s that had windows in there with muttons at the top. And so we're proposing to pick up on that theme of way it was back in the 60s, and then provide a security enclosure. So this will be a second means of secured access from somebody coming to the school. This is the front door to the school, and so there'll be 2 levels of security. This is the first level, and then when you're in the vestibule, it will be the second level. And so the hope is that any threat that comes to the school, we slow them down, stop them, trap them, do whatever. So this we feel like is needed at the school.
Well, thank you for your efforts to protect our students. And also, I'd like to say thank you for doing a little research and trying to restore some of the former architectural features and accomplish both at the same time. I applaud your efforts on both parts.
Thank you.
Does anyone from the board have any questions for Mr. Scott? Comments? Okay. Cam, thank you. Anyone in the public want to speak in favor of this application? Anyone opposed to this application would like to speak now? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to ask a member of the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, with respect to application number CERH 26-047, I move that we approve this application as submitted on the grounds that the applicant is restoring the looks of this porch to its historical look, and it's therefore appropriate under our historical guidelines.
Second?
I second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I've looked extensively on this, and it's 2 matters: security and also appearance of a previous time. So I thank you for being vigilant, Cam, and just simply put, just doing the right thing. And it looks good.
Yep.
So it's very functional. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
When are you going to start?
No, Josh is doing it now.
Any comments, Leland?
I think, well, I used to live across the street from it, and I'm getting
Right.
ready to move, but yeah, I
I
think.
thought that was why they wanted the security, you know.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it. It looks great.
Yeah, me too. Okay, without any further comments or discussion, I'll ask all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, unanimously carried. Thank you both very much for what you do. Okay, Rebecca, will you take us to the next application?
Item D, under new business, application number CERH26-051. Applicant Chris Ravenel is requesting approval to construct a pool house at 726 Grace Avenue Southeast, tax map parcel 121-10-21-004. The proposed new pool house will include wood and brick siding and a Da Vinci slate roof, all in colors intended to match the existing house. It will be approximately 43 feet by 36 feet. The window shutters will be painted Benjamin Moore's Essex green. The proposed windows will be the aluminum-clad Marvin Ultimate window with simulated divided lights in the color white. These windows will match those that were approved for the primary residence in Certificate of Appropriateness number CERH26-025 at the December 2nd, 2025 DRB meeting. This is a contributing property located in the Historic Overlay District, specifically Historic District 1, and is zoned single-family stable. The Aiken Historic Resource Survey card lists the construction date as 1929. The Aiken County Assessor's Report lists the construction date of the primary residence as 1928. In January of 2026, the owner received an administrative approval to install a swimming pool on the property through Certificate of Appropriateness Number CERH26-037. An administrative approval was permitted according to the Historic Overlay District matrix. This pool is currently in the process of being installed. Is Mr. Donahue here to speak? Oh, sorry, Mr. Ravenel.
Give us your name and address, please.
I'm Chris McCarthy. I'm the architect for Ravenel Construction. I'm here on behalf of Ravenel and Mr. Donahue. My address is 2604 Augusta Street, Daniel Island, Charleston, South Carolina.
Thank you. Anything you want to add to the staff comments?
No, sir?
Okay. All right. Well, we had talked a little bit about this in the work session, and I made the comment that I felt like the house was the pool house would be in keeping with the style, and Ms. Knowles pointed out that the siding is different. Would you elaborate a little bit about the lap siding versus the brick, like the main house?
Yes.
I think you had said something about the outhouses, buildings were more of a lap.
The existing barn and the carriage house both have white clapboard. We're at a loss to find comparable brick, and the owner doesn't want to have similar.
Yes, sir.
He also owns another estate in New York, and it's mostly a colonial white clapboard. He likes that look. And historically, a folly or an accessory building is usually very different than the main building. So that's the reason why we're going this direction.
Thank you for those comments. That was really the only comments I had. Board discussion comment for Mr. McCarthy? Okay. You sit down. All right. Anyone in the public here like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone like to speak opposed to this application at this time? Please give us your name and address for the record.
Faith Hawks, 725 Grace Avenue. Good evening. I actually live right across the street, and this is an unusual property because the front faces away from the street, and the back faces the street.
Right.
My husband keeps on saying, that's the front of the house. I'm like, no, it's not. It is the back of the house. So I understand how the pool, was an administrative approval. It does belong in the back. This particular building is also going to be at the back of the pool. So I was just concerned really about how close it would be to Grace and the landscaping. Since it's changed ownership, unfortunately we had the hurricane in '24. All these trees came down in that particular area for both of our properties.
Right.
And since then, there hasn't been any work on the landscaping, which I totally understand. But there's been lots of work on the building itself. And the work is beautiful. It's being, super well done, very well detailed. Usually an application is required to have a landscape plan.
Right. Do we have one, Rebecca, we can pull up? A plot plan or a landscape plan? Okay, on the right, more in the center there.
Right, but it
Yeah.
doesn't show.
And what it doesn't show is it doesn't show the property lines.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And it should also be showing, any landscaping is being considered.
Right. I agree with you.
I'm only concerned, too, is that since it's been under new ownership, they haven't been taking care of the landscaping that's on Grace. And I don't know if that is their responsibility or the city's. The city started to come by and clear part of it, and then everyone in the neighborhood said, stop. So, that's a question that I had.
Right. And living across the street, you look at it every day.
Yes, I do.
Right.
And there's construction debris right outside my gate, so, and it's been there.
Can you blow up that picture on the left any, Rebecca, or is if what we see is what we get? So this looks like the note says 60 feet from the, does that say SY? Side yard?
Yeah,
Okay,
so that's, I mean, certainly within the guidelines.
right.
And I would just ask for a landscape plan. You know, what is the plan for the landscape and what is the plan for the streetscape? Because that's really the public eye.
Right.
That's what you all are
Yeah.
charged with, taking care of.
And I guess I'm sorry, I'm too close to the mic. I guess I hadn't really thought about the landscape plan, although this is a new construction and our guidelines say that you need a landscape plan for it, because the rest of the property is already so heavily landscaped. It just didn't dawn on me to ask that question. And of course, from the street, you said your neighbors pretty much like the rustic look, let's
Yes.
say.
Yes.
And so I understand your comment, though. So I'll see if Mr. McCarthy would like to answer your questions.
Okay,
How about
great.
that? Anything else while you're up?
No, I would like to repeat myself in terms of the quality of construction is great. Very well
Well,
done.
I certainly respect your opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on up.
I want to thank the adjacent neighbor for her comments, and they're well-founded. So we're going through a major renovation on the site, so there's really no point at this time to do a lot of landscaping. However, I will say that we are going to build a service yard with fencing and landscaping to contain gas meter, electric meter, pool equipment, et cetera. I will say that Mr. Donahue wants complete privacy when the project is completed, so we will be filling in along Grace Avenue. And Mr. Donahue wants everything perfect, so it's gonna be perfect.
Okay.
I'd be glad, if we could get a conditional approval, I'd be glad to work with staff to bring in a landscape plan for the new
Yeah,
construction.
I think as long as you submit it later, we'll be okay.
Okay.
Is that okay? Yep, okay. All right, thank you. Anybody else want to speak about this application before we go to a motion? Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion. Don't everybody step up at once here.
Mr. Chairman, it's me again. I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you.
Okay. On application number CERH 26-051, I move that the board find as facts that proposes project at 726 Grace Avenue Southeast, text parcel number 121-10-21-004 in the historic overlay district, specifically historic district 1, is found in harmony with the new construction of the pool house, considering the material, the character. But I ask that the board, a subject of approval of this complete project, that the applicant present a landscape plan that has to be approved.
So we either have to vote up or down tonight, right? Or can we do a conditional approval? I'm asking Daniel, so,
Okay.
or should we say something like, subject to a landscape plan at a later, submitted at a later date, or what's the right way to handle this?
Speaking of your mic.
Technically, the point that's been raised is that the application isn't complete.
Right.
Correct.
And because it has to be complete, it has to have the landscaping plan to go with it. In those scenarios, in the 2 year and a half I've been working with y'all, I think what y'all have usually said is we're going to continue it until you can provide us that additional information.
Okay.
You have done some conditional approvals and conditioned it on things like a designation being provided by city council, et cetera. So I think you can do it either way, but I do think the more appropriate way, even though it is a little more time consuming, is that it would be a finding that the application isn't complete because it didn't provide a landscaping plan. In that scenario, I think what y'all have traditionally done is move that to the next meeting to allow them to come forward with the landscaping plan.
So Mr. Chairman, can I rescind
Yes.
the motion made because of discussion with legal counsel
Yes.
under our direction? I rescind that motion.
Would you like to make another motion? Yeah.
So it seems that the problem here is not the landscaping with the pool house, but the landscaping generally. So I'm wondering why we would turn down the application for the pool house when what's really wanted is a broader landscaping plan for the whole property, if I understood Ms. Hawks's comments correctly. So I'm in favor of voting to approve tonight, because, I mean, do you really want a landscaping plan for a pool house? I mean, that's,
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the way I interpret it was, and maybe I'm wrong, is that the pool house is just an addition to a bigger parcel.
Right. It's an
It's-
accessory structure.
Yeah, just an accessory structure. And the consideration that existing house is present is there. It's touchy. I mean, is it a court enforcement issue? Is it a city issue? Is it, it's just a multitude of things. But
Yep. Come back up.
Sure.
We're all trying to make progress
make sense
here.
of it.
Maybe I wasn't clear. I mean, what you see, the reason that my husband thinks it's the front door is because you see the backyard. You don't see the front of the building at all. The way it's oriented, you can see on the photograph. So that's really what's being presented to the public. And your concern is what is being presented to the public, right? So the only landscaping I was concerned about is around the pool house,
Okay.
because we're not going to be seeing that facade anymore. We're going to be seeing the back of the pool house. So,
And that's because of the trees were damaged along the property line
right,
that opens up the pool house, the new pool house.
right.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the way we've got this, where the landscape has to be approved when you're building the house or doing, nobody knows what they want for landscaping when they're building a new building. When I built my new house, my landscaping has changed, and I don't see why we can't let them come back
That's what I was thinking.
for a separate COA for the landscaping. I mean, that just makes more sense.
Right.
And I'm in agreement with Mr. Reynolds, because landscaping and construction is the last thing that you do. And it would behoove the applicant, as he or she decides to build the pool house, it could delay this months on the basis of a plan. That's why originally I thought maybe a conditional approval of the building itself with the condition that they come back with the landscape plan.
Well,
That's my train of thought.
in my thought, and Faith, you may or may not agree with me, is the intent of the guide that we have, our historical guide, is if you're building a new house, we don't want you to build a house in the middle of the lot and start no landscaping. And so if you're building a new house, we want to see a landscape plan. And so because of that is my thought process. When I saw an accessory building, and not the primary structure, I didn't really consider landscaping as being necessary. But I do concede the point that it's a new structure, So I think we're in a little bit of a gray area here in terms of what the intent of the guidelines are and how we function it. I would like to propose that someone make a motion, if council's okay with it, that we vote on the application we have here tonight, and that we don't just rubber stamp a a landscape plan at a later date, but that it's able to be administratively reviewed for approval at a later date. Do you have a problem with
I
that?
think that's what I made the motion originally, right?
Well, we're talking.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I appreciate what you're doing. But because this is not the primary structure,
Well, and I'm,
And I understand that if you look at the plan.
Right.
Look at the plan of the pool house.
right,
And the plan of the house.
right,
They're not so dissimilar in size. Now, of course, the house is 2 stories.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But it's gonna be a big structure.
right,
So-
right.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I think the original, motion stated exactly what we're talking about, and, I'll second it.
well, that motion's already been
Been
withdrawn.
withdrawn, yeah.
So you'd have to start from scratch.
Take it again then.
Are you okay, Daniel?
I'm trying to read the guidelines to get you a more concrete answer, but because on page 91 of the old Aiken, or excuse me, the historic Aiken overlay guidelines, when it talks about new buildings, it doesn't limit it to a residence. It just says
A new
new
building.
buildings.
Right,
And that, obviously this is a new building.
right.
And
Like I said, I take part of the blame, you know, because I didn't say, wait, we need that. So it's partly my fault.
but give me just a second here.
We've certainly done it before, right?
If you look at the elevation, it shows some landscaping. Look at the elevation of the house. It's got plants around it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
right.
maybe not what.
I mean, I see landscaping. I think from Faith's perspective, it's more the back of the house, you know, is what she's questioning, and it's because of the storm damage, and it's kind of a cascading effect that leads you to that.
Just trying.
Yeah, come on up.
In my experience, a lot of municipalities require a landscape plan prior to issuing a certificate of occupancy.
Right.
Maybe that's something we could consider.
Well, I appreciate that perspective, and I agree with that perspective. But that's not the way our guidelines are written. So, you know, let me see what we can do to help you out. I have every confidence that it will look good when y'all are finished, okay? I mean, that's not the question here.
Well,
It's more of a
so
procedural.
the pool is going to be finished in June.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner would like to obviously get the pool house underway.
Right.
If we have to get a landscape designer and a plan and refile, it could be 2 to 3 months before we get an approval. So time is a little bit of a consideration for us, not for the board.
I apologize for the delay, guys. I know y'all have better things to do, but please bear with us for a minute.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask a very stupid question because I was looking through the packet,
Right.
and I'm not sure where, for the historic district, the landscaping plan is required in the guidelines.
I don't have my book with me.
So, Mr. Chairman, under 5.2.3C, which talks about application for certificate of appropriateness, when you go down to number 2, applications for a certificate shall be accompanied by the following unless waived by the secretary or otherwise specified on the application form provided by the board. And when you get to subpart C, it says plot plan or site layout showing all existing structures and any improvements affecting appearance such as walks, walls, terraces, accessory buildings, signs, lights, plantings, and other elements. And I think where y'all have traditionally found that requires a landscape plan to go with what you're doing is where it says plantings. So it does not say specifically a landscape plan, I understand, but it does say that unless it's been waived by the secretary, that it has to include the plantings. So.
Thank you. I apologize for putting you on the spot. Okay. Well, it sounds like it's put the authority back on the secretary, which is not something I like to do. Do you have a problem with us omitting a landscape plan, or do you feel like one should be required?
I did not feel like one was necessary for this specific application, so I did not request it.
Okay.
So, usually unless the board specifies me to request something like that, for an accessory structure, I haven't.
Okay. So, per the ordinance, the secretary
And waive it.
has decided that we don't need to require one for this application. So based on that, I'll ask if there's a motion from the board on the application.
Back in the saddle again, Mr. Chairman. Can I try it again?
Please do.
I will. On application number CERH 26-051, applicant Chris Ravenel, location of the property 726 Grace Avenue Southeast. I move that the board finds that the project is in harmony with the prevailing historical character, architectural character of the district, which is supported by documentation from my design review manual, specifically new buildings found on page 91. The application takes special notation of windows, doors, corners, detail, and also the material that it's composed of, considering wood and brick. And I make the motion that this, I move that this certificate is found in harmony.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board?
Yeah, I would like to talk a little bit, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
This is definitely a touchy subject. I think that based on the bounds, also on the record with support or counseling from our legal counsel here, and considering Rebecca was put on the spot, I think that we're not doing anything that's necessarily wrong. And within the bounds, we always try to encourage people to come take and build, do what they would like to do if they have the means, the resources, or what have you. And I see as a lowly builder here that if this application is denied, it may take 3 to 6 months. And everyone knows that construction projects operate a lot of times off of steam. And if it loses steam, 3 to 6 months could easily turn into 12 months. If we can't do anything, I think legally as a quasi-judicial board to help someone pursue their dreams of build their pool house, I think we should.
And Mr. Chair, if I could, if you read the new buildings section in context, it even has a section on vegetation, and the focus is on significant existing vegetation, especially plantings from old gardens and trees should be retained. So it doesn't really speak in terms of a new landscaping plan. When y'all have dealt with a single family residence where they're having to come in and grade and clear and things like that, that's where y'all have always requested the landscape plan, because if you're going to be tearing things out, what are you going to be putting back?
Right.
So I would just add that for context for your discussion, that the section we're dealing with when it talks about vegetation focuses more on preserving the existing vegetation. So if they were going to cut down a giant oak to put that pool house there, that would be something y'all absolutely should be considering.
Thank you for those comments. Any other discussion from the board? Okay.
That I'm certainly hoping that we will see a landscape plan that will address Ms. Hawk's concerns. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for that. Any other comments? Okay. Well, I'd like to ask the board, all in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? It's carried unanimously. Mr. McCarthy, would you do me a favor? Would you please give your business card to Faith? Both of y'all are architects. I think you both understand the importance of landscaping, and I can personally vouch for both of you for good character. So I'm expecting y'all to work together in good faith. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the next application.
Item E under new business, application number CERH26-041. Applicant Chris Jackson is requesting approval to conduct a redevelopment project at 221 Greenville Street Northwest, tax map parcel 104-84-02-002. The proposed project includes work on multiple structures, including removing and constructing additions, a greenhouse construction, a refreshment stand construction, event patio repaving and gazebo removal, accessory structure constructions, guest house constructions, and a pool installation. A more detailed description of the proposed work can be seen in Exhibit A. This is a contributing property located within the Historic Overlay District, specifically Historic District 3, and is zoned downtown business. This property does not have an Aiken Historic Resource Survey card, but the designation application for Historic District 3 lists the property as one of the key properties that contribute to the district. The property at Rose Hill was rezoned from limited professional to downtown business on July 14, 2025, through ordinance number 07142025. Zoning ordinance 5.3.1 states, the Old Aiken Overlay District applies to land zone downtown business and the area shown on the map adopted by City Council on April 14, 2008. Therefore, amending the zoning of Rose Hill from LP to downtown business automatically extended the Old Aiken overlay to the property. However, zoning ordinance 5.2.1 states, any property or structure listed on the Aiken Historic Register shall be subject to the historic overlay and its restrictions. Rose Hill was listed as one of the key properties to contribute to the district on the Aiken Register when Historic District 3 was passed. So Rose Hill is a contributing property located in the Historic Overlay District and is listed on the Aiken Historic Register. Rezoning the property to DB also added the Old Aiken overlay to the property. Therefore, the DRB will need to review the proposed project in light of both the Historic Overlay District guidelines and the Old Aiken Overlay guidelines, and then apply whichever set of guidelines are more restrictive for the project. The applicant submitted conceptual plans to be reviewed at the March 3rd, 2026 DRB work session without being added to the March regular meeting agenda, as is compliant with DRB bylaws, section 5.c.7. At the March 3rd work session, the DRB requested a site visit. A site visit was then conducted April 7th, and the application was once again reviewed at the April 7th work session without being added to the regular meeting agenda. Will the applicant step forward, please?
Give us your name and address.
Good evening. I'm Chris Carter, 221 Greenville Street.
Anything you want to add to staff comments, Mr. Carter?
I do, and let me know if I get a little lengthy, but just want to give you a little broader overview of kind of who we are and what we're about. 19 years ago, Gene Rice and I founded Vantage Partners with the purpose of building community through commercial real estate. Rose Hill is one of the most incredible places I've ever encountered. Over the last 18 months, I've come to understand how cherished it is in the Aiken community. So much history and memories have been created here over the last 128 years. We appreciate you entrusting us with this next evolution so Aiken can make another 128 years of memories here. Unlike most other developers, Gene and I will only work on 2 or 3 projects at a time with a plan to own them long term. We also invest a significant amount of our own money into the deals. So we're fully vested in the long-term success. Over the years, we've developed about 25 projects, ranging from $2 million up to $140 million, many of which have historic structures that we restore and we bring back to life. A lot of people have asked me, how do we choose the projects that we work on? And even though I believe the simple, honest answer is that God guides us, I feel like most people have a hard time digesting that answer. So I wrote down a few of the following guiding principles that we try to live by in our developments. We must have the opportunity to create incredible public gathering spaces where people can come together to build community over food, drink, music, art, and experiences. We utilize classic architecture with quality materials that will last 100+ years. But we realize that pretty architecture only accounts for about 30% of the overall success. It's really about choosing best-in-class operators and partners that have a desire to be part of the fabric of the community, to constantly build it up. Other questions we ask ourselves: are we spreading joy? Are we consistently being of service to others? Are we making decisions based off of 30-year horizons and 30-year relationships? Are we being good stewards of the properties that we're entrusted with? Are we recycling cash back into the community? Are we partnering with and doing business with folks that have the right intentions and the same moral compass? Every project we do, we put a cornerstone in, and it simply says, bless those who build community. 9 years ago, we had the opportunity to partner with the city of Duluth to develop a large portion of their historic downtown. Mayor Harris wrote us an endorsement letter, and I'd just like to read a couple of sentences because I know I kind of ramble, but she said, to whom it may concern, for the last several years, the city of Duluth has had the opportunity to work with Chris and Jean to design, plan, and implement a placemaking project in historic downtown Duluth. We have Chris and Jean to thank for our accomplishments and our successes. They were the coaches we needed as their creative minds empowered us to be bold and take the leap. After years of working together, we came to trust Chris and Jean with many of our questions as we worked through the development of our entire downtown. I'm a big fan of Chris and Jean. I hope this letter of accolades will help you realize that their integrity, skills, connections, and knowledge of new development and redevelopment will be unsurpassed. For this project, we've assembled one of the best teams that we've ever worked with, and most of them are here tonight. A little bit about the project. Our team has been working hand in hand with local, state, and federal historic reviewers to fully restore the historic structures, the gardens, the walls, and the paths. It's an entire 4.5-acre city block. We've been meticulous to document all of the amazing trees and the plants on the property, the majority of which will be preserved. The pedestrian experience within the walls of the property is paramount to us. We want to limit vehicular traffic within the walls. We're creating a public art walk along the paths focused on local artists. Currently, there are about 30 keys on the property, and we'll be adding about 25 more. We'll also be restoring the horse stable building to be a public-facing restaurant with an incredible patio and fire pits to gather around. Rose Hill is an incredibly complex project. We've already spent 18 months of work to reach this point. We understand there's going to be minor tweaks and changes in the coming months, but we ask that you approve our submission tonight and let us work with staff on the minor items as they evolve. This will allow us to stay on track with our timelines of opening in the fall of 2027. We really appreciate your support, and thank you, and sorry for rambling.
That was good, and I appreciate the perspective that you've put on the record here. I'd like to say that, personally, I've been impressed with the way you guys have approached the project, and I can't wait to see the results. It is certainly, in my mind, an extensive project, and I think that this plan, exemplifies just how extensive it is. And I appreciate your taking the time a few weeks ago to host this board and to do a walk around on the property to give us some sense of scale. And what your vision is for the future. So again, I've been completely impressed, and I appreciate what you're doing, not just for yourselves, but also for the city of Aiken, and I hope that shows.
Thank you.
I don't have any specific comments because I think I understand what you're wanting to do with your demolitions, as well as your new constructions. But I would like to get a couple of comments on the board, on the record about those. So if you don't mind, which page could you point to the best and say, you know, this structure is being demolished, you know, and in its place, we're going to do this, and just kind of walk us through an overview of what you're planning. Is this the right one, or is there a different one?
That's a landscape plan. That's probably the better one.
Okay.
Well,
Go back to that one with the yellow. Okay.
That's right.
So there may be a laser pointer near you if you want to point at it. No, that looks like an ink pen.
Just a pen.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, there's usually a remote there
That's okay.
that has that. Oh, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. Chris, if you could walk back over to the mic and use this pointer, then maybe we can hear you on the record and see what you're pointing to at the same time. Thank you.
So there is, if you see the red outline, the dashed outline.
Yes, sir.
This is a garage building that the National Park Service and the state SHPO deemed to be non-contributing. It was added a much later date. There is a structure here that there was added onto about 5 times over the history. And they said that there's probably a historic house somewhere in the middle here, but that it had been, I don't want to use the word bastardized, but it had been changed so many times and added on that it's non-contributing as well.
Right.
That's the only demolition that we have going on. The main house, oh, actually, take that back. There's a little sunroom on the front that was added much later, that is structurally unsafe, and it was not, in its current state, not deemed historic, but we're gonna tear it down and rebuild it almost exactly how it was historically.
Anything in the stables area?
No, you'll see that between the stables here, that's number 14, and the cottage, which is historic, there's a little connection that was built in, we think, the 50s or 60s that is not in good shape and is not contributing. There's a little rear portion of 13, so 13 is a historic cottage, and right on the back of it is like a laundry room and a little addition that came maybe in the 70s or 80s. And so that's coming off. But that's,
Okay.
and there's one little garage building that was added, they think, in the 50s or 60s here. That is also non-contributing.
Okay. And then talk to us about your new structures or your additions. Yeah, please.
Another little space with
Where
the
the
red
kitchen's
dotted
on the-
lines right below the cottage there in the
On-
stables.
The kitchens.
Go up.
Kitchen stables.
Yeah, right there, that.
Yeah.
Could you address that, please?
Sure. So I think we even have an easel, if you want to talk about that.
Sure. That
Please give us your name for the record, sir.
my name's Eric Bethany. I'm the architect on the project. So that specific structure that we're talking about right here, this is also a non-original addition to the stables building that at some point in the recent past has suffered some sort of impact to this specific area and is structurally unsound. So we're going to take that down and replace it with a historic. we're basically replicating a historic structure that was originally attached to the end of the stables.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Now, if you would talk about, it looks like most of the yellow are things that you're adding. Why don't you just kind of give us a brief overview of those things?
Yeah, of course. I'll start at the Phelps House up here, number 1. Chris Carter already mentioned the reconstruction of the sunroom right here. This volume right here, labeled number 2, The perimeter of that structure are existing masonry walls that enclose a service courtyard. So this is an open-air courtyard that contains storage sheds, just some sort of utilitarian structures. We are proposing to demolish those non-original sheds and construct a new enclosed structure in here. That's going to house a new ADA compliant guest suite, as well as some service sort of back of house functions. So that's that structure there. Moving on, number 4 is the chapel. We are going to add a small extension to the back of that structure to house some food and beverage back of house space. Number 3 is a greenhouse structure. This will be sort of a steel and glass structure. This portion of the property, if you look back at historic maps, before the chapel was here, there were 2 to 3 greenhouses right in the footprint of this. So we're bringing back a greenhouse right in that same area as a reference to the historic site layout. That's correct. And the bell tower right now is right where the laser is.
Yep.
And we are proposing
Remove that
to
as well.
pick that up and move that to this little rectangle right here. It's not
Gotcha.
marked on the plans. But that bell tower, the chapel's not, I can't remember the exact date of construction, but it does not date back to as far as the Phelps House. 80s, when the school was there. So the chapel and the bell tower are not contributing historic structures, but the bell tower is cute, so we want to keep it if we can. All right, moving down. Obviously, the largest new structures are this structure labeled number 8, 7, 8, and 9, and 12. These are the 2 new guest house structures. These structures will house new guest suites, some amenity spaces like fitness, and then also a small catering kitchen that will service events on this event lawn here. This event lawn is an existing flat space. This originally was tennis courts 100 years ago, and is one of the few large flat spaces on the property. It's a great open space, amazing shade here, great outdoor event space. So we need a small catering kitchen and restrooms to service that functionality.
And that gazebo in the middle of the court.
The gazebo is not original, also constructed in the 80s or 90s. We are proposing to remove that structure just to open up that court, so you can take advantage of the whole space.
And one of the main purposes is, we've had so many people tell us they've had their weddings there over the years, and that's kind of the perfect spot to have the weddings, and so that's the purpose of it.
Thank you.
I don't want to skip over the structure labeled number 5, and structure is a generous word. This is really more of a open air outdoor bar counter refreshment stand, not an enclosed conditioned structure. So again, we have the 2 new guest house structures. Happy to talk further about the design of those, but you can see we've pushed those structures to the perimeter of the property as much as we can. We actually pulled them a little bit in after some comments from the board recently. But the idea here again is to preserve the open space on the interior of the property, which, as Chris mentioned in his intro, is really the star of the show. We want folks out on the property enjoying the incredible grounds and gathering. To the stables labeled number 14, we are, as Chris mentioned, proposing to connect the stables, the existing cottage number 15 and the existing cottage number 13 with new additions. So I'll talk you through those. The design of these additions, Chris mentioned that we're working with national and state level historic groups, SHPO and NPS. And so everything we've designed is in accordance with the Secretary for the Interior standards. The intent with this specific addition right here is to design a low profile structure that really just connects 14 and 15 and also provides some critical back of house kitchen space. Part of the footprint in red that's being demolished is some kitchen back of house space and a walk-in refrigerator that were sort of haphazardly added onto the back of the structure. So we're taking those off to clean that up. This will be the new kind of front entrance to that public-facing restaurant, so folks can come right off of Edgefield and enter that restaurant that way. That also allows us to take some of that kitchen functionality out of the historic buildings and put it into this new construction building and kind of restore those historic buildings back to the way they were originally. I mentioned earlier that we are reconstructing or proposing to reconstruct an additional or original addition to the end of the stables building. We have photos in the application if we want to look at those later, but in our research, we uncovered that there was originally a two-story structure at the end of the stables. And so we are proposing to bring that structure back. This footprint here is the closest we have based on historic references and resources to recreate that structure. So that's what this rectangular footprint is here. And then this again here connecting that new addition to the historic cottage 13 is another sort of low profile connecting addition. And those are all the new structures.
I appreciate that walkthrough. I think it helps give us context to our conversation. Earlier in the work session, we had talked about specific architectural details, windows on new structures, doors on new structures, cornice details, what type of moldings you may or may not have around the new buildings, as well as roofing and siding colors and things like that. And I think what you said to us, and I just want to reiterate it for the record, is that you will be developing those additional details and submitting those for a later administrative approval. So that's not included in the application tonight. But to be clear, what you are trying to accomplish tonight is to get our permission to go ahead with the demolition, as you just described, and permission to start construction on getting the foundations and all ready for the various new structures. And so you are looking for a certificate of approval for that aspect of the projects. Am I clear, or did I get it wrong?
That's correct on all counts.
Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions, comments I had, but I want to open it up to the board to see if anybody else had any comments, questions for Chris and Eric.
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
I have a couple.
Please.
So, so you've been working with the State Historic Preservation Office, and who else other than the on the national level?
The National Park Service as well.
National Park Service, and they are aware of your plans to demolish some of the non-contributing buildings, and they have assented to that?
They have. We have an approved Part 1 application. I can let my colleague Chris Jackson speak to what we've accomplished so far in that coordination process.
So where I'm going to on this is, if the SHPO and the National Park Service think that the demolition is appropriate, who am I to contradict the experts? And it just helps us to justify demolition, which is a serious thing.
Right. Thank you, Lucy. Anyone else on the board comments?
I don't think we got an answer quite yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm Chris Jackson, 987 Reed Street. If I may, thank you guys for being on this board. You guys are like the stakeholders of historic preservation for your community, protecting like everything about your community's cultural heritage in the physical realm. I'm on my own HPC, the Historic Preservation Commission in my community. I know how hard your job is. It's not easy, and you have this big packet in front of you. There's all these details that you got to work through. This piece about the National Park Service and historic preservation for tax credits is a big part of what Chris brought me in on for this project, and we have, to clear the record there, we have submitted a Part 1 application, which has been reviewed by the state and the federal government for tax credits. And so they have opined about the history of this property and its significance, its period of significance, and they have told us which buildings are contributing and not. What they have not done is received our plans for proposed work. And that's what we're doing with you all today. We hope to take that, any inputs needed, to the National Park Service via a Part 2 application, and we will probably have some negotiation with them as well. And there may be us coming back not only to talk about windows and doors and trim details, it may be coming back and saying, well, the Park Service thinks that something, right? And so we will come back to you guys. I am almost certain of it at this point. We're planning on it, and so does that give enough context?
I
To
think
answer your
so,
question?
but I mean, generally they're aware of what you want to do, and nobody has said, no, don't tear that down.
We have proposed things informally, and they have given us feedback. They even walked the SHPO tax credit reviewer walked with you all same time you all were here for public meeting last round on site. We've received a ton of input back from that, and we want to receive y'all's feedback to make this thing as clean as we can for the next step.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful.
Anything else, Lucy?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Just that the way you presented this has been very inclusive of a lot of folks, community and us as well. And, you know, I don't think there's been a single question that we've asked you that you haven't given us a reason behind your logic in making the decisions you've made. And we really appreciate that.
Anybody else? All right, we'll allow these gentlemen to sit down, and we'll open up the mic for public comment. Anyone want to speak in favor of this application, please come forward at this time. Yep, please come forward, give us your name.
To our board, I normally don't come before any group that's appointed by council to make comments, but I will make comments with this. I have been connected for almost 2 years or longer with the request for Rose Hill, and I have witnessed personally, and some others as well, 4 neighborhood associations being informed of what was taking place coming on the campus, as I will call it right now, to look at diagrams, to hear comments from the developers, step by step of what was taking place. That is highly unusual. With every step, they're aware of what is taking place within their community. I applaud you for, I don't know how you're gonna vote, but I applaud you, number one, for the way you've handled things. And frankly, I like the way you handle your sessions here. You exercise diplomacy, patience, and respect for our citizens, and which means that they gain respect for you based on the manner of which you got the governance policy. So I thank you for that. But I can't be happier personally. This is Leslie and William Price, having been on the campus there. And Barbara, I'm going to speak for you as well. We are very happy to see the progress that they've made, but the engagement that they have involved the community at the extent that they have. My comments is concluded. Normally, when a politician gets up here, they don't know when to shut up, so you have to do time up and say sit down.
Councilwoman Price, we really appreciate you and Council Lady Morgan for taking your time to involve yourself in this process. So thank you both for being here tonight and for speaking. Anyone else in favor? David, please give your name and address.
Good evening, David Blake, Magnolia Street. I'm here representing Historic Aiken, and we've been working with them, and it's, I mean, I know you all have too, but it's been so impressive to see the how every question we had too, and then to watch them over the many months. This is a complicated site. You know, its beginning, the evolution of it, everything. These people have taken such care and time, and you have a team of experts, very well-educated, experienced people who have done this sort of thing before. We are so lucky in Aiken to have this. And what they've done is in Historic Aiken's opinion, really important for the future of the community, and we really thank them too for even when things were complicated at times, these people made the right decisions as a team to reduce size and scale, but always recognizing the right architectural details and the significance of those. And so, I mean, I just can't say enough or give enough support to what these people are doing, and still have so much more to do. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else want to speak in favor of this application? All right, seeing none, I'll call if there's anyone wants to speak opposed to this application, please come forward. Okay, seeing no further public comment, I'll ask if there's a member of the board like to make an a motion for tonight. Sir Michael.
ERH, oops.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
26-041. I move that we approve this application as submitted, including the demolition of certain certain elements of the property as requested in the application, and also approve new construction as outlined in the application. The grounds being that this application meets our requirements for, first of all, for demolition, and second of all, for new construction, and that it will contribute to the harmony of the district.
Would you add about the administrative approvals for the?
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course, with the understanding, not the condition, the understanding that any further design elements that need to, any changes, which would be, fine tuning, I guess, would come before the board for approval.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Any comments, discussion?
I'd be remiss if I did. I thought it was a great idea. I thank you for what you're doing, not only for the city, but specifically and especially for that community. You're breathing new life into that community, and it can start with a simple plan. And everyone's wondering what's going on, and that building has sat vacant for a long time. I drive by often. And, you think about the possibilities, and I think that you all are the group that's going to pull it off and do it well.
And so I'd like to say thank you for taking this on and really working hard to preserve one of the most significant historic properties in our city.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Hearing no further comment from the board or discussion from the board, I'll ask for all those in favor of the application, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, seeing none, it carries unanimously. Thank you for what you've done. Okay.
We just want to be invited to the ribbon cutting.
All right, Rebecca, what's next?
Item F under new business, application number CERH26-049. Applicant Jacqueline Orstrom is requesting retroactive approval to construct a new fence at 618 Magnolia Street Southeast, tax map parcel 121-13-02-007. The applicant, represented by Wilkins Bird, is requesting retroactive approval to construct a new fence along the right side property line as indicated in the application. The proposed fence is a 5-foot-tall wire fence with 2 lines of barbed wire that adds an additional 9 inches to the height of the fence, with the top line of barbed wire standing at a total of 5 feet 9 inches. We may want to clarify this height. I think there were some additional photographs provided. The proposed fence will extend over a small portion of the front property line to connect to the existing fence along the front property line. 618 Magnolia Street, previously addressed 544 Magnolia Street, is a contributing property located in the Historic Overlay District, specifically Historic District 1, and is zoned single-family stable RSS. The Aiken Historic Resource Survey Card lists the construction date as 1929. The Aiken County Assessor's Report lists the construction date of the building as 1931. Zoning Ordinance Section 4.1.4.c, Fences and Walls in Residential Districts, states in the area between the plane of the front of the principal building and any street, no fence or wall shall exceed 4 feet in height except where a higher fence conforming to these regulations exists on a common property line of an adjacent lot, in which case the proposed fence may be no higher than that fence. No fence or wall or any other portion of the lot may exceed 6 feet in height. However, Zoning Ordinance Section 4.1.4.d states that the Design Review Board shall have the authority to permit a fence or wall in a historic district up to a height of 12 feet. I believe Mr. Byrd is here.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Would you introduce yourself, Mr. Byrd?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm Wilkins Byrd, 434 Berry Road. I've been asked to speak on her behalf by Mrs. Orstrom, who is out of state at her home in Virginia and celebrating a birthday of a daughter and granddaughter this evening.
Good.
In any event, let me try to trace the situation and speak to questions that were raised in the work session. By way of very brief background, this property includes a really rather outstanding Willis Irvin house that was in totally ruinous condition when Ms. Orstrom bought it about 15 years ago. She and her contractor and restoration architect did a spectacular, and Historic Aiken recognized its qualities, the restoration of the house. She later added to it the original stable and carriage barn that are adjacent, which had been cut off, and ultimately included all of these properties in a conservation easement that she gave to the Aiken Land Conservancy. Now, the reason for going into that is just to trace for you her dedication to this property. I say without any reluctance that she truly loves it and feels very protective about it. I'm finally getting to something that might be relevant to you in the matter that is before you tonight. Now, I feel in an awkward position, that's my problem, but as many of you may realize, what we have before us is a very unfortunate situation between two neighbors who are at odds. I happen to be fond of both the neighbors, and I'm not prepared to say anything derogatory about either of them, and I do not want to drag the Design Review Board into that dispute.
Yeah, and we're not going to be drug into it.
I trust.
We operate off facts.
That's right.
In any event, let me turn now to the real facts of this situation. As I think all of you realize, this relates to a fence, I would call it a wire fence, that runs along much of the southern boundary of this property. I would ask you, if you're game for it, to look at page 4 of the materials. There's a very good aerial map there that traces where this fence is. And the fence, both existing fence and an unfinished little L right out at Magnolia, are the blue line, roughly middle of the page there. Now, the existing part runs from the upper part of that blue line down to the front or Magnolia edge of the neighbor, Mrs. Cato's stable and barn along that property line. It stops there presently. An element of what I understand is before you tonight is a request to continue the fence from that point, it's roughly, by my accounting, about 40 feet out to Magnolia, and then a slight L return going north along there.
Which will tie back into the white.
Exactly, which ties into an existing four-rail white fence with wire behind it. Thank you. I was going to refer to the page, but that shows it. And it would emerge, so to speak, in the foliage there just to the right of the existing column and then turn to join it. The nature of that, I think, is undefined by the materials that have been submitted, and to the degree that the board would be game to give your advice and your approval of a form for that, I feel sure the applicant would follow it. Now, let me speak briefly to the height issues. There are, as has been discussed, some metal support poles running along the length of the existing fence. They are thoroughly utilitarian, and I think we can all concede this whole fence is utilitarian. It is plain as can be. Why is it there? Well, one of the members, Mr. McMichael, as I recall, divined an aspect of it. Mrs. Orstrom is resident in Aiken only several months of the year, less than half the year ordinarily, from Thanksgiving maybe to late winter. As I said, she loves this place. She wants it to be safe. It is her feeling that this property line is not safe. And that is what she tells me is her motive for putting this up. Now, as was discussed in the work session, there is an existing, I would call it a 4-foot-high wire fence that runs exactly along this pattern for the taller new fence. The wire fence, again, a question that came up back there, is largely intact, but there are areas where I have seen, and recently as today, that it is pulled loose, whether by a tree fall or who knows what, from its supporting thing. So it's not completely a 4-foot intact fence there. She wants something that she feels is a more certain protection along this line. Much of it, and I think this relates to the security issue as well, much of it, by my rough calculation, 100 feet, because Ms. Cato's utility building, barn, stable, is an impressive structure and lengthy, as you see from the aerial view there. Much of it is hidden there. It is behind the barn. Mrs. Cato, if somebody snuck back there, wouldn't know it. If they came from either side, it would be unseen. I understand that to be an aspect of the desire for a higher fence, and although she has not said this in so many words, an aspect of why she feels the barbed wire is needed on the top. I think that relates to, I should also add that there was a question in the back about the distance between the two fences. It is not a matter of feet, it is a matter of inches. They are all but on top of one another. Ms. Orstrom tells me that the existing or the earlier 4-foot fence is on Ms. Cato's side. The new fence right adjacent to it is on her side, according to Ms. Orstrom's surveyors. Now, to move from that point to the unfinished portion, this what I call the little L that runs from the corner of the barn out to Magnolia and then joins the existing 4-rail fence. I have no guidance, honestly, on just what design is sought there. There is heavy, there we go. That's the best one. As you see, there is heavy vegetation in there. I'm not a surveyor. I could not find a pin along the Magnolia frontage, but my gauge from the corner of Ms. Cato's barn forward is that the little connector going, as we see it from the right of the white pier there, is not lengthy. 4 feet or less was my measurement of what it would be. So it would be a very modest little connector. Whether the board feels that a